Hello, can you hear me? It says microphone. They're working.
Good evening from New York. I am Selwyn Collins, your host of CWS As It Is. Welcome to part two of our five-part series on Jamaican youth in business. Our team is moving the dare to dare dial. When I started this initiative several months ago with the Guyanese youth in business, my objective actually was to go around the Caribbean and have similar conversations with young people in business in the respective countries, because I believe that our youth are our future and they're some of our most or best hidden treasures in each country. So I'd like you to imagine a movement of self-sufficiency among young people, a movement of young people who dare to challenge themselves and the status quo, igniting the spirit of entrepreneurship. Now imagine being a Jamaican and being exposed to this cadre of young entrepreneurs. I want you to pay very close attention this afternoon as I have a conversation with each of the three participants this afternoon, so you can get an idea of what we're talking about in terms of young people who dare to challenge the status quo and dare to use what they have from where they are. My first guest this afternoon is Miss Tiffany Davidson, but I need to take a short break and get the sound fixed. So I'll play some music in the meanwhile while I sort that out with Tiffany. Any love? Hi Tiffany, you can hear me, right? So what happened? All right. Look here. Can you see? Okay. So I want to show you. Can you see this? Go to options. Can you see that? Test computer mic and speakers. What do you see? Hello? Hello?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, here we are. Awesome.
Good. You can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly. So let's get started.
Okay.
We are back with Miss Tiffany Davidson. Tiffany, good afternoon. And first of all, thank you for taking the time to come on CWS As It Is. Could you start by telling us who you are and why did you get into business in the first place?
Okay, so my name is Tiffany Davidson. I'm from Jamaica. I'm currently a professional makeup artist. I'm also but my day-to-day job is a marketing and events planner, so I do a lot of promotions. So I got started in this when I was finishing my undergraduate degree about 5 years ago. And I wanted to do something else with my life apart from just the theoretical things I learned in school. So I said, I want to go after a skill. I want to learn something. I want to use my hands. I want to become involved and give back. So I started to research and look into what I love, what I like to do, what am I passionate about. So I came up with beauty. I always liked getting dressed as a child, when you go into your ballet school, you get all dressed up with makeup and such. And so in my search, I found makeup, and that's where it began. And that's what sparked the passion for me to go into doing makeup and skincare.
So, did you do makeup? When did this makeup or your exposure to makeup actually began?
It began when I was doing ballet school, because as a child, when you have to do your performances, you have to get dressed up. So you get your little lipstick and your little eyeshadow, you had as a child that your mother would apply on you before you go on the stage. So that's where my first exposure to makeup came from.
And when you first started, what was your parents' reaction to it?
They're like, oh, you want to do makeup? I always saw you as the kind of person who liked beauty, because I'd always try to dabble in, a little eyeliner. I always was very poised and very, girly. So going into makeup was not a surprise for them at all.
Are you doing makeup because it is something you love doing as a business, or is there something else you would have liked to do as business if makeup was not available to you?
I'm doing makeup because it's my passion. I started doing it as a hobby at first. Mm-hmm. And then when persons told me that, you're really well at it, you can make money from it. And I said, well, I do want to turn my passion into a business, because when you're passionate about what you do on a day-to-day basis, it makes it not feel like work. So I am passionate about it, and that's what has kept me going for the past 5 years.
For other young people looking at you today and listening to you talk about your business, how important is passion in the grand scheme of things when you want to be an entrepreneur?
Passion is of utmost importance, because if you don't love it and you're not passionate about it, when the going gets tough, you're going to stink. You're going to, make it get the best of you. But then at the end of the day, you know that this is what makes you you, because as a passion, this is your passion. This is what keeps you moving. This is what keeps you motivated to do better. This is what keeps you, basically, it makes you wake up every day, because there's sometimes when things in life are going to come at you, and trust me, if you don't have a passion, there is not much that's going to help to motivate you. So passion is everything.
How long have you been in business, Tiffany?
I've been in business for 5 years.
5 years?
Yeah.
And in those 5 years, what have you learned about yourself as a businesswoman?
Well, I've learned more about the business field in itself, learned more about the beauty field in and of itself. I've learned more about myself and how important passion is, how important it is to know business and to be familiar with your surroundings, be familiar with what's going on in the world. And it's also opened up my scope and how I analyze and how I look at other persons in business and how persons are functioning. So I think it's of utmost importance when you see, after a couple of years, you get the hang of it, as they would say, you get the hang of it. But over the years, it has really built and strengthened me as a person, because I've learned that passion is everything, and you really need to know what motivates you.
What were some of the main challenges you had in the beginning?
In the beginning, the challenges were persons being convinced that makeup is important, because in Jamaica, persons tend to not, well, at the time, because this was about 2010 going to 2011, persons weren't convinced that makeup was of importance to pay for it to get done. I mean, in beauty, in Jamaica, it's mainly nails, hair. So they were just starting to get the hang of the whole makeup artistry. Like, I need to pay somebody to do my makeup. So when I started out, that was the main thing, to convince persons to do that. And then also to get your name out. You really need to find out who is in the field, find out who are the big brands, find out how you can expose yourself, how you're going to advertise, get your name out there, networking. I mean, the networking part was not hard for me, but just the convincing of persons that makeup is important and why it's important. Because some people tend to have a negative mindset towards it, so you kind of have to show them, listen, there's positive to it. For example, a bride is not going to get up and the same way how she looks when she's awake. She's not going to look that way when she's on her wedding day. Nobody wants that. Even if it's the most natural looking makeup, they're going to want makeup.
So you told us about how your parents reacted, but how did your friends reacted when you first started your business?
Well, my friends are happy. They really are like, oh, I want you to do my makeup, Tiffany. How do you do it? And they wanted me to help teach them how to do it and how to apply it properly and how to make it look more natural. And so my friends are very receptive to it. So they've been very supportive over the years.
So tell us something. You're about 5 years into the business.
Yeah.
So I presume there are new sets of challenges today.
New sets of challenges. Yes, there is, because
Right.
over time you need to realize that you're going to have to sometimes restructure your business and your target and the way how you're going about business, because everything changes in life, everything changes in business. It's always changing. That's one thing I know. So currently their challenges would be coming up is the fact that there's so many more persons doing makeup because a lot more schools are offering the training and a lot more persons are interested in that. When I started, there wasn't really much persons doing it, but now there is so many persons doing it. So you have to find a way to make yourself stand out. So that's
Okay,
the
well, I'm glad you mentioned standing out. What
Mhm.
separates you? Why would anybody choose Tiffany Davidson or Davidson's makeup?
Well, persons choose my makeup because of the way the customer service that they get. It's very personable. I really guide them along. For example, when a bride comes in, we talk a lot for me to get to know her, for her to get to know what she likes and what she doesn't like, not only from what she writes on a form that she fills out, but to get to know her personality. So I know, okay, this is what she needs. You can't give her a full glam look that makes her surprise herself on her wedding day. Suppose she wants to look natural. So I tend to guide it and, become very close to them and eventually become friends, because I've become friends with quite a few of my brides actually. So that's how I've stood out. And also as it relates to, I have had experience where I've been trained along with a lot of international brands. And also that lends itself to the fact that I got training in my field that I work in day-to-day marketing. So it helps me to network with persons, network with international beauty brands that I also currently do work with. So that's how I stand out. And because I always make a name for myself and I perfect my target. My target is mainly bridal and carnival. So you're going to see mainly most of my photos, most of my clients come to me for that, because that's what my passion is about, even though I do everything, but that's my two main things.
What are your immediate plans for your business?
Pardon me?
What are your immediate plans for your business?
I want to continue to build my brand locally and overseas. So I want to build my brand in the Caribbean, going into Trinidad, going into Guyana, going into Barbados, because I have been starting that. Because earlier this year, I went into Trinidad because I had Carnival and I got to tap into and network with different persons over there. And I also did so in Barbados when I went there. So the goal right now and the aim is to branch out globally, well, internationally, outside of Jamaica.
If you were sitting in front of me, or if you are sitting in front of me 10 years from now, what would this conversation be like in terms of what would you be telling me you have accomplished?
Well, I've been telling you that I've accomplished the fact that I've gotten the experience and worked with some amazing people from all over the world, from different races, from different segments, from different walks of life, and I've had an impact on their life. I've brought value to whatever event it is that they had. I've brought, this experience, that woman who has felt very negative about her appearance all her life. And then when she realized that, she can really tap into herself and not say, okay, I am not that positive about my attitude to myself, but I can bring it out to them and say, listen, you can be beautiful. You don't need makeup, but it enhances you. It enhances you. That's the main thing for me when I tell somebody. So the people who have impacted, I'd say maybe a global, international experience. That's what I'll be telling you.
How important um, is what you're doing? How important is it to young women or young ladies looking at you and eager to become entrepreneurs or eager to get into this particular field? How important is your success to them?
My success is important to them because I do see myself as a role model, and there are certain things that I do take note of that I do have to share, because I have a natural want to share and guide persons and teach them, okay, this is what you need to do based on what I have been through, because I would like to motivate somebody to do that too. And they always ask, how is it do you do that? Why is it important? What do I need to do to be an entrepreneur? Well, you have to have the willpower and the passion. The passion lends itself to the willpower because if the passion is there, you can always be motivating yourself to do it. Because when the going gets tough, you're going to have that passion to push yourself through. So it basically strengthens you as a woman. So that's one way that would really be important to females looking on.
You speak of your brand and spreading your brand throughout the region, which I find very commendable. So tell us, what is one thing you would like people to come away with when they hear the name Tiffany Davidson Makeup?
Well, I want them to come away with an experience that they can build on their person, that they can build on their concept of themselves and their self-worth and their values for themselves, because you can go beyond what you initially see in the mirror right now. You're not where you're at right now. You can go above and beyond what you're doing. Even though sometimes you're having a down day, put on a little lipstick and some makeup and you feel like the world is yours and you can conquer the world. So little things like that makeup can do for you and can help females, especially those who are not as able to overcome challenges, but they can still listen. Just get up, get dressed, put a smiley face and go. Put on some lipstick and just go.
If you knew what you know now, if you knew when you first started, if you knew then what you know now, what would you do differently?
Wow. If I knew that, what I know now. Well, I think I would have pushed harder and done training a little more sooner, but I did end up doing it. So I don't think there's much I would change because the journey is what taught me and brought me to where I am and made me who I am right now. So there's not much I would change.
In this very challenging and now competitive industry, what do you say to yourself when you are actually in doubt, you are sometimes in doubt, or you feel as though you don't feel like continuing? What do you say to yourself to motivate you?
Remember why you started. Remember why you did this. Remember this is who you are. That's basically what I say, because you always have to remember your why. Why did you start this in the first place? Even though the going gets tough, you always have to remember why did you start this. And that's what's going to help you to motivate you. And that lends it to the passion behind it.
After being in business for 5 years, how are you convinced that you're cut out to be an entrepreneur?
After 5 years, I think I'm cut out for it because of the persons who I've been able to interact with and to partner with. I think I'm cut out. My personality is very centered and lends itself to being an entrepreneur because I'm naturally a go-getter and I'm pretty persistent. So if I want something and I'm focused about it and I love it, I will go after it. Even when the going gets tough, I will go after it. And there are certain things that needs to get done. I'm pretty traditional and pretty systematic. Say, okay, this is what I need to get done, but I'm also flexible when I need to be because I know that the business field is changing. So my personality lends itself to what I need to do as an entrepreneur. The motivation, the push, the challenges that come up, you really have to have that strength and that why inside of you that you can always motivate yourself to go above and beyond to do. Because when you do what you love, you never work a day in your life.
I love that. When you do what you love, you never work a day in your life.
Yeah, it's true.
That is very true. You will not do, as you said, anything differently. If you could, if you know now, if you knew then what you know now, you wouldn't do anything differently. But what advice? And I'm taking you back in time again. What advice would you give yourself if you could relay only one piece of advice to your former self?
One piece of advice to my former self. Wow. What would I tell myself 5 years ago? I'll tell myself I should advertise more. That's the only thing I can come up with.
Advertise?
Yeah.
Do you advertise a lot now?
Advertise a lot, yeah, in the sense of there are different platforms to advertise on, so the ones I choose are very strategic.
And how is that working out for you?
It's going good.
Hmm.
It's going good.
Should this idea of entrepreneurship really catch on among the youths in Jamaica, how do you see it benefiting young people?
I think it helps them to gain a sense of self and for them to take control of their lives and not feel like persons are going to always be telling you what to do. Because when it is that you were grown, when you're brought up in a system where it's telling you, okay, you're going to go to school, you're going to become this, you're going to become this, it's all somebody telling you what to do and not allowing you to think for yourself, not allowing you to feel for yourself and to really find yourself to know what you love. Because a lot of the times persons go through life and they basically just going. They're not doing what they love. They don't know what they love. They don't know themselves. But I want them, and a lot of entrepreneurs can tell you, like they'll answer you, what do you love? And they know. And they can tell you, listen, this is what I'm doing. This is why I'm getting up in the morning. So that is what I believe.
Do you have people who work with you or for you?
Yes.
And what do you look for in an employee? Just give us two things.
I want somebody who is passionate about doing makeup and transforming the mindset and the concept that the client has of themselves within that moment. And I also want somebody who sees beyond just it as a business. Like I know that they're doing it from before because they love it. So somebody who can think outside of the box and who can improvise on spots. So you know that, okay, this is not working for me, but I know I can use something else. So you have to be multi-talented. You have to be able to think on your feet, quick thinking, and passionate. Those are two things.
How can people find you, Tiffany? How can they
Well,
find your business?
they can find me on my website, tiffanydmua.com. I also have a Facebook page with the same Tiffany D MUA. I'm also on Instagram, shop Tiffany D MUA. So those are the three main ways you can contact me. My website is the main one. It has all the links to all my pages.
You mentioned that when you are in doubt or you feel challenged, you remind yourself of your why.
Yes.
What else is there?
I remind myself of my why. I remind myself what is the reason why I'm doing it. And also, I feel like if I don't do it, it's not me. Like, who is Tiffany Davidson? You'll hear, oh, she loves makeup. That makeup girl. Yeah, man, the girl who does makeup. So, naturally, that's me.
I like to ask entrepreneurs this particular question. Your first transaction or your first paycheck, do you remember how that made you feel?
Yes, I do. I did a bride. She was my sister's friend for her wedding in 2011. And I remember I knew her from before and I did her makeup. And then when she turned around and looked in the mirror, first she took up a handheld mirror, so she kind of saw herself from an angle. She was like, I like this. And she was very nervous the entire time because she knew I just started out. But she said, okay, I'm going to go through with you, to know your sister, and so on. So networking came in there. And then when she got up and she had on her dress and then she looked in the mirror, she just had a moment that just warmed my heart. And I just said, this is the reason why I do this. But that moment when she looks in the mirror and it's about, some people even start crying, right? They start tearing up, but I hope they don't because but yeah, so that moment makes it all worth it.
Have you ever done a makeup that the person wasn't quite satisfied with, and how did you handle that situation?
Well, in life, I know that not everybody's going to like what you do. Not everybody's going to be positive towards what you do, but you just have to continue and push through. So even if I do your makeup and you tell me that's not how I want it to do, I try my best to cater it to how you want it to look, but without damaging my standards.
How would you say, how can the government or private sector help young entrepreneurs in Jamaica to become more successful or encourage young people to become entrepreneurs?
Well, currently what they're doing is I've seen where they've tried to guide you to help you to know how you can register your business, how you can go about getting financial aid if it is your business needs a certain amount of financial aid, because not everybody has the startup capital to start what they're doing. Because for me, when you start and you have to purchase all the makeup in every single shade, every single type, whether it's airbrush or regular, it really is. So I see that's how they're helping them, but I think they can continue to help them and guide them and showing them that there are different fields you can go into. It doesn't have to be just manufacturing. You can go into different fields. You can build on a skill. So basically just showing young persons that, okay, this is a school. There are different segments or different aspects that you can go into in business. So you just need to find what you love, find which one you want to go into, and build on that and give them a little bit of guidance as to, okay, where do you start? Where is a group of schools for this? Where is a group of companies? Where is a group of suppliers for this? Even though you should do your own research though, because that really does help you. So that's what I believe.
How do you measure success?
You measure success when you can go somewhere where nobody knows you, where you think nobody knows you, and they say, oh, that's the girl, that's Tiffany, the makeup girl. Or you hear somebody talking about, yes, for Carnival, go to Tiffany. It's become top of mind. So that's one measure of success. So another one for me is, I don't really go off this one, but a measure of success for a lot of persons is how many followers they have and how much engagement they have on their social media, or how many persons hire you for a job in a certain period of time. But for me, my measure of success is how many people, the clients that you have, the kind of clients that you have, and also how far is your name out there? How wide is it? Who knows you? It's about who you know. It's about who knows you, actually, which is very important.
I want to ask you this question. Do you think that entrepreneurship is something that is in your blood, or is it something that can be learned?
No, I think it's in my blood because my personality type lends itself to that, being a natural leader. So I think persons are either born and have that natural inclination to be in that situation, or they are guided to be in that situation. That's what I believe.
What is one word advice you will give to other young people when it comes to becoming an entrepreneur?
Word of advice: do what you love.
I like that.
Know why you're doing it, which is do what you love.
Tiffany, in the 5 years, what have you learned about yourself?
Over 5 years, I've learned to do what I love, and I need to know what I'm passionate about.
Passion.
Pardon me?
Passion again. Passionate.
Yes, that's the main theme for me as it relates to over the 5 years. What I've learned is about myself is I have to do what I love, because that's just me. If I'm not doing it, I'm very uncomfortable, and something I can just feel like it's just not me. It's not me if I'm not doing it. That's bottom line. So I know this is what I'm passionate about. Even when the going gets tough, even when, I'm going through a period where I just know that I'm doing what I love. And if I'm not doing it, because I'm sure I've been there before where, you're not doing it because, for whatever reason. And then you just have this, you just feel empty, feel like something is missing. And I know I have to do that because I love it.
I understand passion. This is the last question for the evening. So, what are three other qualities you have that you believe have really helped you through this business?
Well, through this business, what has helped me is the fact that I am a very friendly person. So I'm easy to talk to. So if I meet a stranger, I'm able to go up to them and speak to them about anything. I can spark a conversation with you, whether I am at a formal function, black tie, whether I'm out at an event and you're networking. I'm able to network with different people. I'm easygoing, but I'm also very confident. So when I speak with determination, like, okay, this is what I'm doing.
Awesome, Tiffany. Anything that surprised you about the show?
Pardon me?
Anything that surprised you this afternoon about this show?
Well, I'm happy to be here on this show, and I'm happy that, I can speak to the different persons around the Caribbean about entrepreneurship. And I really hope that my story does motivate persons out there, both male and female, about how they can get started and why, and how they can go about it, and how they can start by thinking. It all starts with the thinking process of what it is you want to do.
Thank you.
So I'm happy that your station, I'm happy that your show does lend itself to the youth for this.
Thank you. One last time, the name of your show and, I'm sorry, the name of your business and where can people find you?
It's Tiffany Davidson Makeup. You can go to my website at tiffanydmua.com. You can also go on our Facebook page at Tiffany DMUA. And you can also WhatsApp us 396-7984 with the 876 Jamaica code, area code. All right.
Tiffany, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was nice talking with you.
You're welcome. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.